الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على خير المرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. All praise is due to Allah, and may the best of peace and blessings be on our Prophet Muhammad صلى الله عليه وسلم. نواصل بفضل الله تبارك وتعالى ومن منته وكرمه دروس العظماء الكلام فيها عن الصحابة صحابة النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. Continue the giants, and by this we are talking about the Sahabah. We are referring to the companions of the Prophet ﷺ, the best generation chosen by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be role models for this ummah. والليلة في هذه الدقائق مع صحابي يعني سلبه الله عز وجل نعمة جليلة ونعمة البصر، لكنه سبحان الله كان قدوة للمبصرين وغير المبصرين. We're talking about somebody who is blind, but yet subhanallah we will see how important, how of a key person he will be, so much so that he will become a role model for all Muslims. الصحابي هو, anybody knows who the Sahabi is? Abdullah ibn Umm-Maktoom. نعم. سيدنا Abdullah ibn Umm-Maktoom. Abdullah ibn Umm-Maktoom ويقال عمرو لكن الأصح إنه Abdullah. Abdullah ibn Umm-Maktoom, he accepted Islam early, at the early time, not very early, but he accepted Islam in Mecca. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam came with da'wat al-haq, the truth, made sense, all the sense for everybody. But those Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, guided them for Islam and they chose it. Alhamdulillah. Yet there were so many, as we know, that stood against Islam and opposed the Prophet ﷺ. Abdullah, he is already blind, so he has a problem that make him suffer much more than anybody else. Yet his faith was stronger than anything. Time will pass, the hijrah will come. He will be from the very early people. Anybody knows, we talked about this, anybody knows who was the first Sahabi to make hijrah? We mentioned it in here. Mus'ab ibn Umayr. He made it the first one. Mus'ab, the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam even sent him to pave the way for him, to make da'wah. He was not alone, by the way. Abdullah ibn Umm-Maktoom was with him. It's very famous that Mus'ab is the first one who made hijrah, but Abdullah was with him. And not only Mus'ab was making da'wah, Abdullah also was making da'wah in Medina, was teaching people the Quran. Something happened before the hijrah, which is, one of the important events to mention. It has to do with the surah that we recited, Surah Abasa wa Tawalla. And it's a famous story. He accepted Islam, and one day he came to the Prophet ﷺ to ask him, Ya Rasulullah, allimni mimma allamaka Allah. Teach me something of the Quran that Allah taught you. In the meantime, the Prophet ﷺ had a very important meeting with the leaders of Quraysh. One narration mentioned it was Al-Walid ibn Mughira, the father of Khalid. Other narration mentioned it was not only Al-Walid, it was Al-Walid, Amr ibn al-Hakam ibn Hisham, Abu al-Hakam Amr ibn Hisham, Abu Jahl, Shayb ibn Rabi'a, Utbah. So many of the key figures of Mecca. Nabi sallallahu had a meeting with all of these leaders. He's explaining Islam to them. He is trying to, that's for the da'wah. And in the middle of that, Abdullah ibn Umm-Maktoom came. He's a Muslim, and he's like, ask a question. Can you teach me, Ya Rasulullah? Well, probably it's not the best of time. And Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam tawalla anhu, abasa wa tawalla. He kind of frowned and he turned his face or turned away. He was paying attention to another effort of da'wah. But Abdullah, he will be of those few people that Quran will come down to the Prophet ﷺ. He finished his meeting with his people, with those leaders of Quraysh. But Allah Azza wa Jalla will reveal a very strong ayat. Abasa wa tawalla. He frowned and he turned away. And ja'ahu al-a'ma, when the blind man came to him. وَمَا يُدْرِيكَ لَعَلَّهُ يَزَّكَّى. What makes you think he might be purifying himself after purity? He might be searching for purity. أَوْ يَذَّكَّرُ فَتَنْفَعُهُ الذِّكْرُ. You are busy, the meaning of the total ayat, 16 ayats. You are busy with those leaders or those who are not paying attention to you, and you are turning away from the one who is paying attention to you. It was, first of all, this is one of the miracles of Quran, or this is one of the evidence that Quran is from Allah, because if it's from the Prophet ﷺ, he would not have something, he would not tell people about something that's criticizing him or blaming him actually. And we learn a lot from this. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala criticizing the Prophet ﷺ who is the leader of the ummah, and who is a prophet, not only a leader. He is appointed not by election of people, could be right, could be wrong, by election of Allah, by choice of Allah, by appointment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, best human being. Yet Allah is blaming him for not taking care of a little request of one of the humble people of his ummah. That teaches leaders how that like nothing is small. Nothing is small. And the Sahabah, they learned that. Umar radiallahu anhu, قولته المشهورة لو عثرت أو تعثرت بغلة في العراق, if a little mule or a little animal or a little thing in Iraq all the way far from Medina would not find the way paved and everything, I think I'll be responsible for it, or I think I'll be questioned about it. So that kind of responsibility was there. Anyway, let's continue with Abdullah ibn Umm-Maktoom. النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم اعتاد أن يكرمه, دعاه طبعا وأكرمه. He called him after he received this ayat, and he used to deal with him in such a special way after that, because he was blamed in his regard, in something that's related to him. Migration happened. He was one of the early people, actually one of the first people to make hijrah. He taught, subhanallah, imagine that somebody like Mus'ab, somebody like Abdullah ibn Umm-Maktoom you're talking about today, how many hasanat will be in his record? How many hasanat will be? It's not only his hasanat, Sahabi, early Muslim, everything you can talk about, we talk about a lot of things, but also he opened or he referred, when you refer somebody to the bank or to something, oh, they get you $10, $25, whatever. You refer somebody to Islam or to anything good, you get the same reward, right? If you tell somebody else or lead somebody else about something good, that's going to be you're going to take a similar reward without decreasing nothing from his reward. That's something we know. How about if you become a reason for guidance for so many giants, so many Sahabah? يعني هنيئا له ونسأل الله أن يلحقنا به على خير. May Allah give him the best of the reward, and may Allah give us something similar, inshallah. Many of the Sahabah, many of the people of Medina accepted Islam because of him. He was there. One of the very important things, or manaqib lahu, like advantages or things to be mentioned about him, is that the Prophet ﷺ appointed him for something. He was appointed for something that, again, he was not famous. Like everybody knows Mus'ab ibn Umayr was, teaching the people in Medina, but nobody knows about him. Everybody knows what? What was the post that the Prophet ﷺ appointed him for?
Governor of Medina.
Huh?
Governor of Medina.
The what?
He made the governor of
the governor of Medina. Yes, that's important, but more important for me is adhan. He was the mu'adhin of the Prophet ﷺ. That's like, he appointed Bilal and Abdullah ibn Umm-Maktoom. They used to do it, interchangeably. Somebody do this salah, somebody do the other salah. They were there, both of them. Bilal is the most famous mu'adhin, but Abdullah ibn Umm-Maktoom was mu'adhin too, making the adhan, the announcement for prayer for the Prophet ﷺ. And in Ramadan, we know, for example, that they used to have two adhan for Salatul Fajr. The first adhan, Bilal yu'adhin bilayl. Bilal used to make a first adhan, not in time. That's shortly before the time of Fajr, which is mainly like an alarm, to alarm the people if somebody is still praying, to pray Salatul Witr and finish his prayer. If somebody is still eating, to finish his suhoor. And then Abdullah ibn Umm-Maktoom will give the second adhan, which is the main adhan for Salatul Fajr, which means time. It's time for Fajr. One of the most important things also, Nabi Sallallahu used to appoint him when he is not there. Like he appointed him when he went to Fath Makkah, Ghazwat, almost like 11 times. 11 times, and Nabi Sallallahu would choose him to be the one in charge of Medina when he goes to Ghazwa or anything. And subhanAllah, what I learned from that, or what I see in that, we're talking about somebody who is what? Physically what? Blind. Handicapped, right? Well, in the community of Medina, handicapped were there, not only taken care of, they were praying with Muslims, they were leading Muslims. Nowadays, in some other places, Islamic countries, they don't have even the basics of life. They don't deal with those people, the handicapped people, as if they have right in life or something. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is appointing him to be a leader, meaning this is someone that's part of the community, and he actually deserved not only to be part of the community, to be a leader. Another incident that's important, which for Salatul Fajr, the thing that happened on Salatul Fajr, which shows us how important it is to pray, and to pray in Jama'ah and in the masjid. Abdullah ibn Umm-Maktoom one day came to the Prophet ﷺ, said, Ya Rasulullah, see how many excuses you will get, or many things you will mention. I am asking excuse not to pray Salatul Fajr in the masjid, not to pray Salatul Fajr, not at all, in the masjid with you in Jama'ah, and the reasons are here. I am blind, number one. I don't have a leader, I don't have somebody to guide me for Salatul Fajr. وَالْمَدِينَةُ كَثِيرَةُ السِّبَاعِ وَالْهَوَانِ. And Medina, as you know, this is a desert area, a lot of snakes, a lot of things could be there. Would you please give me a permission to pray at home, not just only for Salatul Fajr. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam thought about it, or almost did not reply, or maybe give him an excuse at the beginning, or a permission at the beginning. Then the wahi came to the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, revelation came from Allah. He said, come back before he leaves. Come back. Do you hear the adhan, the muaddin? You hear that? He said yes. Or hear the adhan? Bilal is making the adhan. Do you hear the adhan? Yes. So you ajib, you respond to it. Yani subhanallah, let's see how many of us will have excuses not to come for salah. Yani if Abdullah ibn Umm-Maktoom, blind, not having somebody, let's think about that seriously, inshallah. Abdullah ibn Umm-Maktoom was there. He lived with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He had a lot of things. He taught. He was muaddin of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He was, one of the important things about him, he was keen to learn everything from the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He used to take every chance to learn from the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Quran and so on. Like he was, we could see it because he was coming to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam while having an important meeting and asking him, could you teach me? So he learned a lot from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But even though he had all of these, things in his resume with Allah, in his record with Allah, he still wanted to be with the mujahideen, with the warriors in the battlefield, struggling for the cause of Allah with those who are defending Islam and with those who are, taking the word out. He insisted on that. Before the death of the Prophet ﷺ, the ayah was revealed, لا يستوي القاعدون من المؤمنين. الآية كانت والمجاهدون في سبيل الله. They are not equal. Allah Azza wa Jalla start urging Muslims because we need some kind of power and strength to take this da'wah out for everybody. And He will oppose so many people. So you need strong people to go and do whatever it takes to take the da'wah out. So Allah was urging people to make this kind of jihad and go out and things like that. And He said they are not equal. Those who go out for war and those who stay behind. It was so hard for him, even though he had an excuse. So he made dua to Allah and he said, Ya Rabbi, anzil udri. Oh, Ya Allah, reveal my excuse or reveal something. So Allah revealed, غَيْرُ أُولِي الضَّرَرِ لَا يَسْتَوِي الْقَاعِدُونَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ غَيْرُ أُولِي الضَّرَرِ وَالْمُجَاهِدُونَ. They are not equal. Those who stay behind, not talking or not related to those who have excuses. Allah revealed this part, unless you have an excuse. Yet he had the excuse and everything, but he used to go out for jihad, and he used to tell them, well, I am blind, and what I could do is ضعوني بين الصفوف وأعطوني الراية. Give me the flag or the banner, the flag, and because I'm blind, I cannot see, I will stay always there, because if the flag is strong, not moving, usually everybody will be staying firm. If you give it maybe to somebody who is mubsir, he can see. If something happened, he might go. He said, I'm blind, I'm not going to go nowhere. So because I don't see, give it to me and put me somewhere between the lines and I will stay there. And that's exactly what happened. And more than one time, one of them was in year 14 after the Hijrah. That's like 3 years after the death of the Prophet in the time of Umar. Umar radiallahu anhu decided it's time to oppose one of the two superpowers, Faris. And he wrote down to everybody, إِلَىٰ عُمَّالِهِ, send me all the warriors and all the people of wisdom and people who have military people. He got a big army and he appointed Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas to be the leader, and he sent them towards Persia to Ma'arakat al-Qadisiyya. It happened there, al-Qadisiyya, and it took like 3 days of struggle, and Muslim won at the end. The bearer or the carrier of the flag was Abdullah ibn Umm-Maktoom رضي الله عنه, and he was martyred. استشهد في هذه الغزوة. وجد في بعد نهاية الغزوة مدرجا بدمائه معتنقا الراية. He was found, subhanallah, at the end completely, like a lot of injuries and a lot of stuff, but he was still literally embracing the flag of Muslims. مات شهيدا رحمه الله تبارك وتعالى, ونسأل الله تبارك وتعالى أن يلحقنا به على الخير. اللهم آمين. May Allah Azza wa Jalla make us get to the level of those giants of Islam and follow in their footsteps, inshallah.